Thanks for joining us here at RoofSnap.
We're going to show you how to use line labels and subline labels.
Yeah, we're here in the web app specifically, and many of you are seasoned experts in sketching your roofs, but we did want to talk about specifically how to apply the different edge labels to your roof measurement.
Perfect.
Now, on the web app, we can click on our different line labels when we're in the edges mode, and immediately what we call subline labels will appear. So for many of you who use RoofSnap, not just for measurements, but also the estimating platform, it's going to be really important for you to add any accessories that might apply to your linear measurements.
Gotcha.
In this case, let's say for this roof we are going to put ice and water shield, and we're going to put drip edge. Eave edge is our sublabel designation for drip edge measurements.
Gotcha.
So we'll go ahead and highlight that one as well, and then we're just going to begin to click on all of our eaves.
Depending on how many eaves you've got on your roof.
Tell me if I miss any as we're going around, because this is a pretty cut up roof.
That's all right.
And this is going to be, I believe, an eave section here that's just at an angle, but I could be wrong. We might have to zoom in on that. And then we're going to have an eave here on this dormer, and an eave on the left and right side of each of these dormers down here at the bottom. And there may be one or two eaves left, but as we zoom in and do more sections. Now disregard this little area here. This is going to be for a Florida room that we're going to show you how to do in the next video. But now I'll jump over into rakes, and let's say we're going to put some rake metal, which is going to be the rake edge designation here.
Mm-hmm.
And we go ahead and highlight all of those rakes.
Wonderful. And you'll notice that these lines are not changing in length when Jason is labeling their respective labels, but not to worry. As soon as we put pitch in on this roof, depending on the line label, it will adapt for the slope.
Absolutely. Rakes get longer, valleys get longer, hips get longer, step walls all get longer when we add pitch values.
Mm-hmm.
Ridge vent, let's go ahead and add that as a sublabel as well as we label up these ridges. And you know what? Let's do all of the primary ridges. Am I missing any? There's one there. And then for those dormers, let's say, you know what, they're not going to get ridge vent. So let's unhighlight ridge vent and just do regular ridge labels. That way you can differentiate between which sections get ridge vent and which sections don't.
Perfect.
Now hips don't have any sublabels, so we don't have to worry about that. We can go in and just click on, this is of course going to account for all the hip and ridge material that we're going to use when we estimate the job. And there's a little hip right there. All right, now we can hop over to valleys. And of course we want to put ice and water shield in all of the valleys. So let's click on all of those. And Katrina, you make sure to let me know if I miss any valleys.
I will do my best. And it might be beneficial. Can you just show me what happens if I accidentally label one of those hips as a valley? What do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I've labeled that hip there as a valley, I can easily just go right back to hips, click on it again, turn it right back into a hip.
Perfect.
All right, so now we just have most of the perimeter lines remaining. So I'm going to zoom in. We've got a couple rakes here on this dormer that I wanted to zoom in on in order to get. It makes it a little easier sometimes when lines are very close together. And you can see we already labeled that pitch change, and we had already labeled that step and wall on that particular dormer.
Mm-hmm.
Now down here, where these overhangs exist, we're going to have to account for the changes between step wall, where it goes up the slope, and apron, where it goes perfectly horizontal, where you would have roof to wall flashing.
Gotcha.
So let's just start with the obvious, all the steps. So that goes up and down a slope there, that goes up and down a slope, that goes straight, that one goes down a slope, that one goes straight, that one goes down a slope, and that one goes straight. So let's switch over to wall. So there's the wall. Sometimes it's almost every other. But again, you have to have a certain knowledge of the architecture of a roof in order to know when it's rising and running versus traveling horizontally. Now we can move down here and go ahead and label up the apron metal. I'm sorry, the rake metal.
And since we've already specified that we want drip edge here at our rakes, we don't have to select it every time.
Yes,
It'll remember those.
Perfect, yeah. That's very, very helpful. We don't have to keep going back and adding those. Now, we haven't labeled any sublabels with step wall, so this is something to consider as well. If you're going to add ice and water shield and step flashing at your step wall transitions, you're going to want to add those. Now, you'll notice up here, I did not put it on, but if I want to add it there, I can just click it, and you'll see the little word step or STE, and then ice next to it. So that lets you know when you've included those extra labels.
Perfect. Kind of have that visual cue. It's
Yep.
nice.
And I may go back as well and put some apron metal on those walls.
Nice.
So let's click into walls, and let's go ahead and let's do the ice and water shield and the apron flashing there. And let's put that in the pockets. Let's put that down here at the base of the dormers. And then let's come over here. We've got a little apron wall there. And before I switch back and do the last little bit of step, I am going to click on these light blue lines and add in the sublabels that we were just talking about.
Perfect.
All right. I've got one more little yellow line down here that I want to get. And that is a step wall. I don't need to worry about, again, reselecting those. They're already going to be remembered. All right, now let's zoom out. And except for that imaginary Florida room on the rear of this house, are there any yellow lines remaining?
No, that looks pretty good to me.
All right, so I think we are all set. If you have any questions about labeling up your lines, specifically within the web app, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Of course, call 1-877-RoofSnap.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.